August the 24th, 2018. Guys, we got an update from the National Hurricane Center. The system in the Gulf that we've been watching has now they've named it disturbance number 2, 10% chance of cyclone formation over the next 48 hours. But it looks like it's going to move ashore. It's right on the Texas and Louisiana border on the coast, and what they're saying is even though it may not develop, that area could get heavy thunderstorms and a lot of rain. So, guys, look at your local weather for rainfall amounts there. Now, this system that's just off the coast of Florida, 70% chance of formation in 48 hours, 90 in 5 days. In 5 days, this thing will be well out into the Atlantic, much like Chantal. But they're saying a broad and elongated area of low pressure extending from the southern Florida peninsula northeastward into the Atlantic is producing a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms, primarily over the Atlantic north of the Bahamas and east of the central Florida peninsula. Environmental conditions appear conducive for gradual development during the next few days, and a tropical or subtropical depression is likely to form early next week while the system moves northeastward over the Atlantic offshore southeastern U.S. Now, out in the Atlantic, we now have a tropical depression number 5. Maximum sustained winds at 35 miles an hour. Central pressure is at 1010 millibars. It is moving west at 12 miles an hour. We're going to look at the spaghetti models on both of these systems, and guys, this is the one we're really going to have to watch. There's also continued storms pouring off the African coast. Now, switching to the U.S. satellite, you can see both systems, and we've actually been watching both of these in the last 2 days. But they're saying the center of circulation, guys, is more onshore than off, but it's really hard to tell by this, and the spaghetti models look even stranger. But you've also got this system forming off the coast of Mexico, guys, off the Baja, that's going to head towards Hawaii. We'll update that this afternoon. But what we're dealing with here now, this is that system on the Louisiana-Texas coast that's in the Gulf of Mexico itself. Very warm waters, so you're going to have a lot of moisture involved over some wet areas that for the last few days have been getting rain. And the Florida system, again, elongated like they said, but this is the one right here that may give us problems, and there's a much larger system moving off the African coast that we'll keep an eye on. But again, tropical depression number 5, and this thing is predicted to become a hurricane, a Cat 1 here in a few days. We'll look at the spaghetti models and the tracking on that. And just a close-up here, guys, here in Louisiana and Florida, Texas, these particular overlays gives you different colorations on your top layer clouds and your lower levels, and you can see if you've got circulation near the surface. And it's kind of hard to spot here. And again, the system is basically setting over Florida down at the very south. All of these clouds you see are part of the elongated low pressure, but the center of circulation, guys, is right here on land. And believe it or not, and could possibly enter into the Gulf slightly before it curves back up. It's a strange storm, but we've seen some strange storms this year so far. One completely get wiped out. Here's your infrared of the same satellite, guys. You can see a lot of moisture being pumped up towards Texas and Louisiana. And just like it did yesterday, folks, here in Mississippi and over in Alabama, this is going to drift your way as these storms are not only coming from there, but coming across the U.S. from west to east. And in Florida, you can see near the tip, you're starting to get some rain build up. But look at this model. This is Invest 98L. And you can tell by the models where I was showing you on the map on the radar that is where the center of circulation is. And there's hardly any storms just south over Miami now coming over the Keys. The yellow model shows it going out into the Gulf of Mexico itself. Everything else shows it start to turn, go back across Florida. One model, notice the tabs model kind of skirts up the coast towards Jacksonville. But after that point, it looks like everything's going to be in the clear. It's going to be caught up in that front that's been moving off the coast, and it will should follow Chantal. But the next couple of days could be some storms, depending on if it wraps around that center. This is the one, tropical depression number 5, guys. This is the one we're really going to have to keep an eye on. The only thing that will stop it, I think now, will be the same thing that mysteriously stopped the last one. Cat 1 by Wednesday at 8 a.m. Thursday, 8 a.m. It's right, the center's just south of San Juan, 85 mile per hour sustained winds. And what happens at that point, depending on this track, it could go south or north. You'll have some stripping effect in the higher mountains, but it's going into warmer water. And again, if you look at the spaghetti models, these all are agreeing basically on the same path. Everything, it's going south of San Juan, Puerto Rico, and headed northwest. It goes up as far as the TABS model, and everything stops. And so we'll have to wait. Will that track continue across Florida, or will it be caught up in another front and do a recurve up the East Coast? We don't know. This is going to be our first serious test of the season. Now, we've had tornadoes, we've had floods, thunderstorms, power outages from the smaller systems like Barry that we saw. But I think this is going to be one of the big ones. And again, if it's not manipulated. This is a heads up, guys. Watch for updates coming up later. Be safe.